Alright, good morning guys. It's currently 5:26 a.m. and it's March 10th. We just woke up and without any further ado, let's just get straight into it. Alright guys, so I just finished up at the gym. It is now currently 6:30 and we have a lot of time in our day to do whatever we want. So we're gonna go home, make some food, and then start an art project, and then go to art class. And then we'll just keep it pretty calm, pretty simple, edit some videos, try and get this published today as well, and do a little improvement. Alright, it is currently 6:01. Can't tell, but we're about to make some breakfast. Get 6 eggs in, carb up a little bit with some bell peppers, and yeah, just get jacked. So I just made my food. Let me show y'all. We got 6 eggs and some bell peppers. I'll put the macros here on the screen, and then I'm gonna just chow down, and then we're gonna go to class. Alright. So let's talk about boredom, guys. I'm a bored person, and I bet you guys get bored pretty quickly too. So when people think of being bored, they usually imagine simply just having nothing to do. But if you think about this in neuroscience, boredom is described as like an unpleasant and low stimulated state where you want engagement but don't feel able to find it. In that state, the brain tends to favor maybe easy, immediately rewarding behaviors, which can include impulsive habits that give quick dopamine hits, like compulsive scrolling, snacking, drinking, maybe even socializing, procrastinating, or other urges that you have. But we gotta understand this a little bit more. We gotta understand the basal ganglia, which includes structures like the dorsal and ventral striatum, which help encode and express habits and action patterns. And they also interact closely with dopamine systems that signal reward and reinforcement. The ventral striatum, also the nucleus accumbens, is a key part of the brain's reward circuitry. It responds to rewarding or motivating cues and helps drive you towards behaviors that previously felt good, which is one reason why boredom can push you towards maybe a familiar comfort behavior. Over time, if you consistently respond to feeling bored with the same behaviors, then those responses can become learned and more automatic through reward-based learning. At the same time, the prefrontal cortex supports cognitive and long-term planning, which is helping you suppress your impulses and choose actions that fit your value. When boredom becomes stressful or very aversive, the prefrontal cortex activity and top-down control can drop, and more reactive, sensation-seeking responses become likely. There's strategies that keep the prefrontal cortex engaged, like deliberately choosing a meaningful but effortful activity, or maybe reframing a task to make it personally relevant, like losing weight, some goals like that, or even planning alternative responses to your boredom. That can help you override the pull towards the easiest and least resistant habit. Most immediate rewarding habits and gradually retrain your habitual responses to boredom. So you can retrain your mind by doing harder things. You usually think about it like this. If you were to start scrolling in the morning for 2 hours, then doing your work throughout the day will be much harder. But if you were to do your homework in the morning first and then scroll later, then this feels more rewarding than the scrolling. So doing harder tasks retrains your brain. And now it's also my time to talk about my day. So I spent today like doing random things to kill time, It didn't work. It felt like being a sailor lost at sea. I was definitely surrounded by a lot of salt water, and I was in dire need of water. I was thirsty. And in the situation, I could have just gave in and drank the salt water. That's the path of least resistance. You can just lean over and just drink the salt water. But the reality of it is drinking the salt water feels like a solution for about 5 seconds. That salt actually dehydrates you faster. It makes you thirstier than you were before you drank it. So, drinking, scrolling, procrastinating, smoking, it's just all dopamine, and it's a fake solution that leaves your soul more dehydrated than it was when you were just bored, when you were simply just bored. If you really want to like survive, you have to ignore the salt water around you and wait for the rain, even if the wait is painful. Make sure y'all leave a comment for the next one. I will be looking. I wore the bucket.